on America? What's going on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all those good joints. It's Kev from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. Yeah, man, and I'm back. So I hope you got time to chill with me for a quick second while we do that. Now, let me go ahead and make sure I got me a notification. Uh-huh. Yeah. So, depending on where you are, whoa, look at that. That's me. Got me a notification. Yeah. So, depending on where you are, I'll be darned. Anyway, now, those that are able to log on, I see you. Okay, Chrissy. All right, all right. Let's see who else. Let's see who else able to roll up on the scene with a gangster lean. Lima, you're down in the bean. We used to call that the Lima bean. That's right, down in the bean. So there we go. We got people logging on to the show. All right, I'm gonna try not to be here long. Okay, yeah, because I didn't finish the show from yesterday, so now I got to do that. I gotta make good on my word. I gotta make good on my word. So let's see here. Jeez, oh man. All right, what did I just do? I just did something crazy. All right, no. Okay, wait, there we go. Let's go back to this. There we go. That's what I get for playing around with stuff. All right. So, how many of you all seen the show from yesterday? Raise your hand. Yeah, hopefully you got a chance to see the show yesterday where I was highlighting all of this nonsense that was going on, man. Somebody said, keep the beard. Absolutely. Yeah, the beard's not going anywhere. It's a man beard. My man beard. I'll grow it down to my ankles if I have to. They ain't going to. Now, with that being said, let's see here. There we go. That should do it. All right. So now with that being said, let's go ahead and get loose so I can get busy.
And anybody who defends it is disgusting and despicable and deplorable.
That's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want y'all to hear that stinking, nasty voice. I didn't want y'all to hear that. And let me also check my volume. Bam. Yeah. Word to the mother. All right. Let's get busy.
It's the kings in the building. You get this epic, show some respect.
Gorillas in here. Gorillas in here. Yeah, man. Now, don't forget Kevin's Corner Store. All right, you can go ahead and get yourself some merchandise, some gorilla gear. And if you would just text MAGA to that number, 3309-744-607, we can stay connected just in case things get crazy on the internets. All right. And then finally, like I said, during the show or after or whenever, if you want to support the show through either the live stream, my Cash App or PayPal link, they are below each link as well. So thank you. By the way, I saw somebody just go ahead and contribute to the super chat. Now, here we go, y'all. If y'all didn't see the show yesterday, go back and check it out. Because we went through all of these different particular scenarios, situations, and stuff like that, where the Democrats are the agents of chaos. They've been sowing all types of chaos in our society by brainwashing a lot of people into believing that by, executing the law, that right there is racist, is showing authoritarianism, and Trump's a dictator, and ICE is equal to the Nazis, and they're putting these people in concentration camps, and they got dummies out there that have bought into it. And the one lady from yesterday was talking about how she was going to go ahead and walk away from her job for some time to go ahead and get some money, I guess, scrape up a couple of nickels and dimes that she said she didn't really even have. Drive down there to Alcatraz for nothing. Because that's what it would be. It would be a trip for nothing. Just to let her presence be felt and to resist and stuff like that. Talking about some dang on, you know what, that I'm going to go down there and use my privilege. So I guess she's going to go down there and tell those folks at Alcatraz to let my people go because of my white privilege. There you go. Yeah, and come back home to no job. So she was about to go down there like Moses to free the illegal immigrants that aren't her people for nothing. Same thing with the Democrats. They went and visited Alligator Alcatraz, and they went down there and came back and swore up and down. The conditions were poor. I mean, they was drinking out the toilet, drinking out the taste of urine and a little bit of fecal. But this the only place we can drink water is out of the toilet. And talking about they brush their teeth with they poop. The nerve of Alligator Alcatraz. Got folks up there. I guess what they meant, you stick the toothbrush down in the toilet for water. Yeah, get all in there. Get all in there. Did it. There you go. Right there. So I guess that's what was happening down there. But we all know the game. The game is disruption. The game is a whole bunch of fake outrage. The game is to generate a whole bunch of chaos so that they could protect their investment over these last 3.5, 4 years of bringing millions of illegal immigrants into our country, hoping to create a whole new voter base. Now, I got a feeling if they fail and Trump does finish deporting all these people, it's going to be a bloodbath in the future for the Democrats because they're losing all types of support. Young men and hopefully women as well, black men, hopefully black women will get on board, but they're taking it to the chin. So with that being said, let's finish watching them take it to the chin by making up an excuse for why ICE now has a 700 plus increase in violence against them. Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and get it. Oh, I forgot to show y'all my fancy little sign right there. My bad.
The unrest that's happening in and around the ICE agents as well. Officials are looking for a suspect who appeared to fire a gun at a federal agent during a raid. A few days before that, 10 people were arrested after opening fire outside an immigration detention facility.
Now, you have to understand, guys, this is the guy who went down there and got himself arrested by ICE because he gonna go ahead and try to act like he had a question for Christy Gnomes that couldn't wait. Then kept pushing up against her detail, her Secret Service detail, until he got his butt arrested and then went on a little tour crying and stuff. They put me on the ground. They don't know I'm a senator and all of this stuff. So now here he is, one of the agents of chaos, and she's asking him about this obvious increase in attacks on ICE. Now, are you ready for this bait and switch?
In Texas, injuring a police officer. Authorities say it was a planned ambush. Earlier this week, a man with a rifle and tactical gear was shot dead after firing at Texas.
Now, I just want you to flip all of these things that she's reading and apply those to Republicans or conservatives. All of the stuff she's reading is she's saying, yeah, these are all Republicans that's been doing this stuff. These folks will be having a fit. The National Guard will be brought out. I mean, all kind of FBI attacks going through people's buildings, houses, snatching folks up from the job. It will be a full out press to go ahead and deal with this. But also the media will be this violence, the right-wing extremism. And you can see now that, the authoritarianism is on the right and all. I mean, it would be absolute chaos. But she's reading a laundry list of incidents coming from their outraged, crazy voters.
Border Patrol, at least a facility. Are you worried that heated rhetoric around this and around the policies are actually putting law enforcement agents at risk?
No, because first of all, we don't care about law enforcement agents. Man, whatever. Secondly, it's more important to us to defend our precious illegal immigrants and those law enforcement agents.
First, let me just deny any violence against law enforcement.
Now, that's the first lie come out of your mouth right there. Y'all encouraged this. Y'all wanted this. This is the effect y'all guys wanted. Yeah, let's go ahead and tell everybody this is Gestapo. These legal immigrants are our neighbors, our friends, our brothers, our sisters, our doctors, our lawyers, and don't forget our butt wipers, and our fruit pickers and our toilet cleaners. Yeah, and they're being treated like being thrown in a concentration camp and white supremacy and all this stuff, and they're not showing their faces. They're kidnapping these people. That's what they want. They want their radical base to get upset enough to where they intimidate ICE, to where you're looking in the one ads. That's old school right there. Looking in the one ads like, oh, it looks like they're hiring down there at ICE, but sheesh, even though they're paying a decent salary, I might find myself doxxed. I might find these crazy radicals throwing bricks at me, Molotov cocktails, or even perhaps shooting at me. So, honey, I better not go ahead and sign up. That's what they want. So let's continue, because he just sat back and talked. But that's their standard response when they get called out for all the violence coming from the left. Well, I want to start off by saying I condemn any violence. You're right.
Is unacceptable. Do I think heated rhetoric is part of what's causing this response?
Now, you ready? Do I think heated rhetoric is a part of causing this response? Listen who he says the heated rhetoric is coming from, guys.
Sadly, yes. And we've seen this administration escalate and escalate and escalate in all ways and matters,
Can you believe this big dirt bag right there? I mean, he set us up for the bait and switch. Do I believe heated rhetoric is responsible for the escalation of this? And time again, I've seen me, along with the rest of the Democrats, grab microphones talking about this right here is Gestapo. Trump's using his brown shirts. Trump's using his the stormtroopers. Yeah, that's what he should have said. But instead, what does he say? This man has the nerve to say, time and time again, I've heard Trump and them. Now listen to this bum.
It's the tactics with which they're going about immigration enforcement. There's a smarter, more effective way to do this.
Yeah, by letting them stay. There's a smarter and a more effective way to do this by just leaving them alone. Letting us go ahead and get away with one of the biggest crimes and forms of treason in American history. Yeah, let us get away with that. That's what he wants. He wants us to just say, man, it's too frustrating, okay, to continue this campaign right here. I mean, we don't want to have to deal with every day these folks just showing up like, all kind of maggots. You know how maggots just show up in your trash. You leave that mess out too long. I don't even know how to get there. I know flies have something to do with it, but you think you got it all wrapped up, set it up with the bag outside. All of a sudden, you open the bag and maggots are in there like, what's happening? We just showed up. How in the world do these protesters just be showing up like that out of nowhere? So, yeah, this guy right here, after all of that, the folks showing up, them encouraging these folks to show up and to resist and to do all of that. This guy right here, he's hoping, and along with the rest of the Democrats, is that we just tap out. That we just get tired of hearing every day on CNN, MSNBC, Hollywood stars coming out whining about what's going on. We just get tired of them blaming Trump. And Trump gets tired of seeing all of this go on and ICE agents being put in danger, being called all these names. And we just say, forget it. Let them stay. That's the goal. These folks just want us to tap out. But guess what? We ain't going to tap. We're going to make them have to break it. So let's continue.
Then what they're doing.
Well, they say that it's the Democrats' rhetoric. Some calling ICE agents secret police, comparing them to the Gestapo.
Yeah. That's exactly what is going on. That is exactly. Now, I'm surprised Dana Trash even asked. How did Dana Trash ask when normally she's a part of the propaganda? But of course, she got to try to push back. Now, that guy wasn't ready for that. He was hoping she was going to let him get away with that big, fat, sorry lie. That's what it was. It wasn't even an answer. It was a lie. It was, I'm definitely not going to accept responsibility for all of this chaos by encouraging folks to go out and act a fool. In fact, guess what? I'm one of the folks that was acting a fool, baby. There it is. Y'all see my performance? Y'all see my performance? But I want to know. Oh shoot. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm down. I'm a congressman. Then followed up, going into Congress, talking about they put me on the ground. Yeah, all of that. So he's one of these people. That's what he is. So she asked him, let's see how he goes ahead and wiggle off of this hook, the big old fat worm.
Well, I wouldn't use those words, but I do have concern when there are no requirements for ICE agents or other federal agents involved with the immigration enforcement actions to not even identify themselves.
Not even identify themselves. So now, this is their argument. The only issue I guess they have with ICE is the fact that they have their faces covered. Now, they're not going to address why they have their faces covered. I mean, what led to them having their faces covered? In the past, before all of this happened, was ICE arresting people with masks on? No. But what changed? You mean what changed is that these illegal immigrants and these radical protesters have a huge advocate on their side called the Democrat Party, who is going out there encouraging all of this uprising and this overreaction to ICE by demonizing them to the point where ICE now have to cover their faces just so radical folks on the left do not reveal who they are, where they live, where their families live, where their kids go to school, all of that. That's why, because you guys are so lawless and so fixed on saving your illegal immigrants that y'all have put their lives in danger. Now let's open this up a little bit, because this guy's swerving down that they don't have to identify themselves. Is he really suggesting, and then we're going to see some others too, that when ICE roll up on a set, these people have no idea what's going on? They might think they're being kidnapped by what? One guy in a mask? When you see a guy show up with tactical gear on, helmets, all these long guns, you think they're all coming to kidnap you? I mean, this right here should defy all common sense. I know the difference between one person jumping out the car trying to kidnap me, or a couple of mobsters or some gangbangers, but we all kind of got a good idea of what law enforcement looks like and dress like in the tactical gear, and the amount of force and the amount of people that actually show up to make one of those arrests, to make sure that they minimize a potential reaction from somebody who's there arresting. So it should be something going through your brain when you see multiple cars pull up and they all saying, freeze, get on the ground, get on the ground. There's certain language that law enforcement uses when they're apprehending somebody, whether they got a mask on or not. You don't see kidnappers rolling around deep in a whole bunch of SUVs, things like that, jumping out with tactical gear on just for Kev. Just for Kev. I mean, I must have really made some type of kidnapper mad, some mobster or something like that, where they send 13, 14, 15, 20 guys in tactical vehicles and tactical gear, helmets, everything. So I'm pretty sure in this environment and what's going on right now, if you're an illegal immigrant, the first thing that pops in your mind when you see that pop up, whole bunch of guys jump out of their vehicles saying, get on the ground. I don't believe you're thinking this might be the cartel kidnapping me. I'm pretty sure based on their English, based on their approach, I'm pretty sure you should recognize, well, most likely these are ICE agents because they're out there looking for people like me, illegal immigrants. So if you're dumb enough to think that 20, 30 guys, for whatever reason, just to kidnap you, you're pretty dumb. And that's what they're trying to suggest. They're trying to suggest that by these men wearing masks, I mean, these people might think they're just kidnappers. They think they might just be kidnappers.
I mean, if you're a member of a working class immigrant community and you see unmarked cars roll into your community, people getting out of those cars with no identifiers that they are law enforcement, and literally not just detained.
Yeah, because y'all don't know that all kidnappers do that. Most of the time, a kidnapper is one person. The whole goal is to keep your kidnapping on the low. See, you don't want everybody knowing that, hey guys, over here, look at me in broad daylight, rolling up on the scene with masks on and gear like that to kidnap folks. They're belittling our intelligence. They want us to think this is what's going on, and these people should interpret this as such. Now, one person grab them so nobody will know that I got them. I don't want to be chased as the kidnapper. Somebody said I'm buffering. Oh, I am buffering. Okay, let's see. Hold on. All right, hold on. All right. Yeah, I put my Wi-Fi on. All right, yeah. Buff, baby, buff. Yeah. So as I was saying, these people right here, or this guy right here, and the rest of the Democrats, they come up with these stupid arguments to try to justify ICE, taking their mask off, to make it even more dangerous, to discourage them even more from participating in this project here. So what he wants us to believe is that these are large groups of kidnappers, large groups. As I was explaining before I start buffering, usually when somebody is trying to kidnap somebody, they want it to be a secret, y'all. They may be one person lurking, and they find somebody and they say, I'm gonna sneak around, I'm gonna follow them, and then I'm gonna grab them. I'm gonna grab them just like that. And I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be out in the open talking about some get on the ground, and put them in the back of a big, heavy armed vehicle. I don't want that type of PR. I'm trying to be on the down low if I'm a kidnapper. But apparently, these people want to suggest that we got large groups of kidnappers. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? When I see 13, 20 guys jump out of armed vehicles and they got tactical gear on, I'm to interpret that as a whole group of kidnappers just for little old me. So this is what he is trying to suggest as an argument of why I should just stop doing it. That's what they should do. They should just go forget it. I mean, you know what? If we can't go ahead and arrest these people with our faces covered, then you know what? I'm done. So now they want to make it very hard and dangerous for ICE to execute the law.
Painting, in your mind, maybe kidnapping. So that's why Senator Booker and I have this bill to require that identification for ICE agents or anybody involved with immigration enforcement. It's for the safety of the officers and agents.
Yeah. Now, do you hear that oxymoron from this moron? Showing their faces while we're out there telling all of our crazy radicals that these folks are Gestapo. These men and women for ICE, you know what they are? They're brown shirts. They're like Nazis. Yeah. So while we're telling them, show your face, you Nazi, we want y'all to go out there and show all of our crazy radicals your faces so they can go ahead and dox you, throw bricks at you, show up at your house, harass you, and at the same time lying about something. You know what? This is good for them. This right here is good for ICE members to show up with their faces uncovered. Now, these people are dirtbags, absolute dirtbags for what they're doing. They care more about these illegal immigrants than the safety of ICE, and they're willing to throw ICE under the bus to the degree where they even got to feel like they need to cover their faces. And then have the nerve to try to pretend that they're just looking out for ICE. They just want it to be safe for them, to not, show up without their faces covered so their crazy radical base could identify them. Unbelievable, these stinking, nasty Democrats.
As well as safety for the community and to protect against people exploiting the circumstances, impersonating ICE agents.
People exploiting the circumstances. Now you hear this guy trying to justify this and wing his way through this, trying to get off the hook. The people impersonating ICE, I don't know about you. Do you and your buddies get together and put tactical gear on and posse up and go through all of the steps of getting vehicles that might look like they're government vehicles? Do you guys do that? Y'all don't do that when you want to take advantage of pretending you're ICE agents? No? Jump out of vehicles 20, 30 deep? Yeah, y'all didn't do that. all just because you want to mug or rob somebody or whatever, or kidnap somebody. I thought the goal for kidnapping, though, is to keep, as many people out of the kidnapping as possible. I mean, it's hard to keep a secret with 2 people, let alone 15, 20 guys. What's the point of this? Who would be faking that they're ICE agents to kidnap and grab a couple people? Unbelievable. But this is what they're trying to sell to us. They want us to believe that, I guess that makes sense. I'm pretty sure these people might get confused when a whole bunch of vehicles pull up on the scene and they jump out and say, get on the ground.
Getting involved with burglary, theft, kidnapping, sexual assault, and worse.
No, that already happened. And it's happening from a lot of illegal immigrants in our country. All the things you just described. It's taking place all over the United States due to y'all bringing in all these illegal immigrants. Big old fat stinking. So I guess it's ICE's fault. That's what he's saying. He is saying that all of this violence that Dana Trash just read off is ICE's fault. There it is. If they would only stop going on and, detaining these illegal immigrants and deporting them, then none of this would be happening. Yeah, if y'all wouldn't have did this, none of this would be happening. So I'm the kid now that says, you know what? If you wouldn't have recognized the vase that I broke, then I wouldn't have got a whooping. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole goal. Don't punish me for the crime. So now that I'm being punished for the crime, I'm going to blame you. You the one came home early and saw that vase broke before I was able to piece it back together, glue it, or stage it and set it up there, making it look like it ain't broke. So then when mom comes home and goes to move the vase and it breaks, I'm going, what did you do? But instead she busts me and I'm going, if you would have been at work when you were supposed to be, then I wouldn't have got busted and got a whooping. So that's what he's doing. He's blaming it on ICE, y'all.
The president, as you know, says that they wear masks to protect their own identity from people who want to go after law enforcement.
Now, from Democrats who are out there promoting all of this crap that is causing a lot of their crazies to act up. But wait, y'all. Look, here's a response from you. You know who? My hero, Tom the Hammer.
Now is President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, sir. I do want to start with that ruling. The judge ordered the administration to stop making indiscriminate immigration arrests in the Los Angeles area. And
here we go. Let the games begin. Send in the clowns, meaning these judges who just aren't getting the memo. So now all of a sudden we got another radical, crazy judge that said y'all can't go out there and arrest none of these people because you're indiscriminately just picking them. You're riding around as the white supremacist ICE members, which half of them are all Latinos, but you know what? That doesn't matter. And you're looking and profiling people. There's one guy right there. He's short. A lot of Mexican men are very short, built low to the ground for traction. That's right. Yeah. And not only is he short, but he looks like he has a little melanin in his skin. What is that? Is that English he's speaking? No. Okay. See, obviously, because he's not speaking with the King's English, he has to be an illegal immigrant. Let's go ahead and pull him over. So that's what they want us to think, that ICE is just riding around and saying, let me eyeball it and pull off and grab these people. So now let's see how Tom the Hammer handles this.
And denying detainees right to legal counsel. She wrote that, quote, roving patrols without reasonable suspicion violate the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution, and denying access to lawyers violates the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution. Will the administration comply with this order?
Look, we're going to litigate that order because I think the order's wrong. I mean, she's assuming that the officers don't have reasonable suspicion. You know, they don't need probable cause to briefly detain and question somebody. They just need reasonable suspicion, and that's based on many articulable facts. So unless she's in the officer's mind, I don't know how she make that, decision that, well, they're not using reasonable suspicion. How does she know that?
How does she know that? She don't. That's not the goal. She don't need to know that. The goal is to stop you. See, I mean, maybe Dana Trash don't understand it, but all of us get it. We all know what is going on with these fake behind, radical behind judges who's working on behalf of the Democrat Party. The goal is not to get into the mind of ICE or to really understand this or to at least ask questions. You think this judge wants to, contact I used to say, what are the parameters? What are the factors that you're using to conclude that this person might be an illegal immigrant? Didn't miss me with that. I don't need to know that. I'm, presenting this junction to stop you guys and slow you down and get in the way. So, yeah, she doesn't know that. She's just an activist.
I mean, every officer has to, bring articulable facts to raise reasonable suspicion, and then they can briefly detain. I don't know how she knows that, but I don't think any federal judge can dictate immigration policy. That's a matter for Congress and for the president, and I know the Department of Justice is going to litigate it, so we want to take it to the appeals court.
Yeah. So now we got judges and Democrats fighting hard to keep folks that should not be in the country in the country. You would think the whole country should be saying, yo, we should vomit up anything that have entered the body illegally. Our whole country should be reacting like white blood cells when a foreign entity enters the body. But no, we got rogue cells inside of us called Democrats and fake judges that is turning into cancer. That's what they are. They're out of control. They're fighting against the best interests of the body right about now. Yeah, you're a white blood cell for nothing. Okay, so instead of saying, yo, we got foreign entities that just entered, attack, let's all come together and make sure that we keep the body safe by, sending anything out of it that ain't supposed to be here. But nope, not them. They're like, welcome, you're welcome. Come on in, viruses. Come on in, bacteria, come on in. So that's what these folks are. Yeah, so here we go, trying to save the body. Trying to save the country by making sure that, hey, we want to be fair. We don't want to violate any Americans' rights. We don't want to go, too overboard and reckless with just having no information or probable cause at all. But as soon as you get one, you act upon it. And they're now trying to pretend that this is the normal operating mode of ICE, to just eyeball it. Look at somebody, use your thumb, size them up, go get them. Let's continue.
Let's talk about that reasonable suspicion and what it actually means on the ground when it comes to ICE detaining.
Watch this loaded question. Y'all ready for this, y'all? You see Dana Trash? Now, she got an assignment, y'all. Her assignment is to come out here and try to bait the hammer into admitting that they are arresting these people of color because they're people of color. Here we go.
People. You said in an interview this week that reasonable suspicion can be based on, quote, the location, their occupation, their physical appearance, their action. What about...
Now, wait a minute. All four of those things that he mentioned, y'all hear that? Y'all heard it? All four of those. Look which one Dana Trash focuses on.
About an individual's physical appearance would give immigration agents, quote, reasonable suspicion.
What about one's physical appearance? Now, you just bunny hopped over all of the rest of the factors. Yeah, you want to land right on physical appearance because you know what the narrative is? Let's pretend that the Trump administration is completely racist. And the only reason they're going after all of these illegal immigrants is because they're people of color. Like Miss Piggy, what's her name? Anna Navarro on my show last night, who was like, the only reason they're doing this is because they're racist and they want to make America white again. So now, one way to get Americans upset and to brainwash a lot of folks that maybe not are paying attention to this or get them on board is to push the narrative that, yeah, y'all might disagree with illegal immigrants here, but I know y'all disagree with racially profiling. We want that to become the main focus so you guys that will override your disdain against illegal immigration and jump on board with us because now you found out that the only reason they're doing this is because they are attacking people of color and want to make America white. That's why they're doing this. So now let me lower all of my common sense. Let me go ahead and set aside my rationale, and all of these things when it comes down to illegal immigration and support now the Democrats in their push to stop these deportations because now I believe that they're all motivated by racism. And heck, I'm a man of color. I mean, what if they're riding around and they see me and say, all right, now look at him, Johnson. He's a big black man with a bald head. He's obviously an illegal immigrant. So that's what the goal is. And that's what Dana want to focus on.
That they might be in the U.S. illegally.
Well, first of all, let me be clear. Physical description can't be the sole factor to give you reasonable suspicion. As I said in an interview, it's articulable facts with an S.
With an S, all right? Facts with an S. Dana Trash.
So appearance can be just one. For instance, if someone has an MS-13 tattoo on their face, that may be one factor to add to other factors to raise reasonable suspicion.
Yeah.
I want to be clear about that again because my words are taken out of context. Physical description cannot be the sole reason to detain and question somebody. That can't be the sole reason to raise reasonable suspicion. It's a myriad of factors, and I could sit here for the next half hour and give you all the factors.
So, yeah, but you don't want to know those factors, Dana Trash. Yeah, neither did the judge. You just want to make it appear that these are racist, white supremacist ICE members riding around and saying, now, you know our objective, guys, our objective. The memo here says, arrest any person, whether they're American citizens or not, based on too much melanin in their skin. Here it is. As a Latino ICE member, I guess I'm on board with going out there and arresting people of color, all right, because the goal is to make America white again. Now, you see the game? They use these dirty tactics to have their way, to get their way. They use all these nefarious accusations of the motive of anybody who is law and order. Yeah, that's right. You're not doing this just because these folks are legal. You're doing it because you hate these people and you want to make sure America remains a white nation. That's what they're going after. Let's continue.
So every officer, every situation is different. But I can tell you this: every ICE officer goes through Fourth Amendment training every 6 months.
Yeah, Dana
and
Trash.
reminded what their authorities are for arrest, detention, and questioning. So the officers are very well trained. So I look forward to DOJ litigating this judge's decision because I think she's making a decision while knowing what that officer knows when they get out of that vehicle to question.
Yeah, exactly. Because she don't care about that. And if you are a legal citizen, you ain't worried about it. I told y'all. When Youngstown was at the height of its crime and they had created a task force, yeah, guess what? They were riding around in Broncos, all right, and they were all black, and they would jump out. They didn't even have regular police, uniforms. They had just black T-shirts that said police right there on them. And I had just come back in town from college, pulled up on the scene with my red rodeo stick shift, okay? And I'm riding around Youngstown, and out of nowhere, they saw me, young black man, never seen me before, decent looking vehicle, and they just all rolled up on me. Now, it was like 5 cars. I couldn't see the bunny ears up top. I didn't see none of the sirens on top. I didn't see black Broncos. Yeah, they just all surrounded me. Did I stop and say, oh, shoot, I'm being kidnapped? Oh, shoot, I don't see cop cars. I'm about to be kidnapped. Who would want to kidnap Kev with that amount of force? Obviously, these were unmarked vehicles. These were police vehicles. They pulled me over by saying that, well, you rolled on a stop sign. That's what you did, which I know I didn't roll on a stop sign. But when they jumped out the cars, I didn't see police gear and all of this stuff. I just saw black T-shirts and said police. They roll up on me. Guys like, you know why we stopped you? Now, as he's talking to me, they're all kind of surrounding my rodeo and stuff like that. Now, I'm cool, calm, and collective because I know I ain't do nothing. Cool, calm, and collective. And I'm sure the probable cause was, okay, all right, Youngstown is filled with a lot of drug dealers. Most of them are black. And here's a young black man riding around with a vehicle that looks like it might be too expensive for his age. I'm pretty sure all of those were factors going through their mind, which made them pull me over. But they told me, well, could you step out the car for a second? Now, it goes from, we stopped you because you didn't completely stop on the stop sign, to, you mind if we search your vehicle? I'm like, so you just bunny hopped over, let me write you a ticket for rolling on the stop sign? Straight to, you mind if I search your vehicle? But guess what, y'all? Kev was clean as a whistle. You know what I said? Absolutely. Threw my arms like this, sat back and start talking to him like I had some sense. So, I've been out of Youngstown for quite a while. How is the crime rate? Is it falling? Anything being done now to, all right, guys, everybody wrap it up. That dude interrupted me so quick and told them to get back in their cars and get out of here. Yeah, he knew off grip. This man is extremely confident and intelligence. Yeah, I mean, I start talking to him about the crime and stuff. He was like, wrap it up. They didn't even get a chance to open my door. They didn't even get a chance to lift nothing. He knew right off grip, this guy's good to go. He's confident. Now, if I was an illegal immigrant and I get pulled over by ICE and I'm squirming and I ain't got no proper stuff, of course I'm going to be concerned. But if I'm an American citizen, yeah, I might be inconvenienced for a few seconds. But at the end of the day, bam, show the proof and they're going, oh, okay, sorry about that, move on. That's what would happen. Because guess what? If that wasn't happening, do you think we would not be seeing that on CNN and MSNBC? If that wasn't happening, do you know how quick CNN's butt would be running down there to that citizen? Oh shoot, my mic. I ain't used the mic in a while, y'all. Oh yeah, running down there like that. So what would happen when Gestapo pulled you over and picked you up and arrested you and put you in alligator Alcatraz? Tell us about your experiences as an American citizen that were detained and deported just because you're a person of color. That's what would happen. We would be seeing that person paraded all over TV, but that's not happening. I have yet to see one American citizen say, I was arrested, detained, and deported, all because they mistook me for an illegal immigrant and I'm an American citizen.
Because you're a prosecutor, I want to ask you.
Here we go. Here we go. You see egghead in the middle, egghead in the middle, in the middle, in the middle, egghead in the middle. So egghead, Humpty Dumpty head right there. Right in the middle. They're all on here to push the narrative that it's ICE's fault, y'all. ICE, baby. Too bold. So now, here we go. Egg in the middle is about to pretend he's just asking a question about ICE having their face covered.
There are legitimate reasons why some enforcement agencies, some police agencies go undercover or, do things in shadows to achieve certain things. I would assume that's specific and it needs to comport with some laws.
Exactly. There are very serious legal restrictions around the use of, for instance, FBI agents as undercover operatives. Very strict rules regarding how it's done, what they can do, what they can't do.
Somebody said, now they're against masks. Isn't that odd? Yeah, how they flip, just like now they're against ICE and they're against, of course, the National Guard and stuff. But when Nancy Pelosi pulled the National Guard in up there at the Capitol, they were brave men and women. Yeah, they're against police when it's convenient for them. And they want to divide the country under racism and all of this stuff. And a black man was killed by the cops. And look, we got a problem with systemic racism. However, those raggedy behind cops they brought in up there in Congress to try to push the whole January 6th narrative, they want a plaque, y'all. They want a plaque for those guys. They're like, these guys should get some type of award for doing nothing. That's what we want, for putting on a performance. The only award they should get is some type of Oscar for performance. And a piss poor one at that. I was so scared. They kept calling me the N-word. Just over and over again. Over and over again. So, yeah. It's funny how they just switched. So now, all of a sudden, here they are. They're against masks. But not the ones that the rioters and all of these people, the anarchists, are wearing.
But you know what I've never seen a federal agent working a case do is pull a mask up so nobody knows who they are and go out and terrorize the civilian population.
Terrorize the civilian population, which we all know this is not happening. What you're really saying is terrorize the illegal immigrant population. Notice how they just broaden the scope of ICE and the intent. This dummy wants us to think that ICE is pulling their mask up to go out like, I guess, what, Halloween night or something. Let's go. We're all going to go out and just go into neighborhoods going, ooh, get out of here. Boo, ooh, ah, scare folks. Just going out there terrorizing the civilian population. Totally disregarded their goal and agenda, which is to go and find illegal immigrants where illegal immigrants usually dwell. Using all of the data we have to say there's a high probability there's a lot of illegal immigrants right here. That's not the civilian population. That's not them out there just randomly going into Walmart, scaring people. Like, what you looking at, punk? What you looking at, man? Go ahead and get your bread, man. Go on, man. I ain't gonna mess with you, dude. Let's go over and harass this old lady right here just getting some butter. Yeah, like that's what they're doing with their mask up.
And I think it's important for us at this point to be very plain speaking when we say that this is not normal.
Not normal, plain speaking, but yet you were very ambiguous when you just described what ICE is doing. That wasn't plain speaking. That was lying. That was misleading. That's what that was, you old stinking lady, right there talking about some, going out and terrorizing the civilian population. But now let me be plain speaking. This right here is not normal. Is it normal for ICE to just decide to put their mask on and go out and just terrorize the civilian population? Is that a normal thing? I didn't know that's what ICE goal and objective was. All right, then you know what we're doing. We're just going out scaring people, random Americans.
It's not acceptable, and it's a danger sign. We're well past the point where we can just identify danger signs and say, oh, there might be problems down the road.
Oh boy, here we go. We're well past the point. We've all moved into the category of a dictatorship, authoritarianism, and the Gestapo and concentration camps, and we're well past. And I'm not seeing it. How is it that you guys are describing how lawless the Trump administration has become, how dangerous this is, and the precedent that it sets, and all of this stuff? And I'm going, I don't see it. Isn't it funny how Democrats come up with these descriptions of what is going on, and yet rational, common sense people look around and say, I'm not seeing what you're describing. So that must mean you're lying. However, you're doing it for folks who, unfortunately, are able to live in your matrix to where they're going, all right, I'm not seeing this. However, I'm going to believe it's going on. I mean, here I am in Youngstown. I probably will never accidentally run across an ICE raid. And if I did, I would mind my own business. But my point is, you would think these folks, this is everywhere. I get out my house to mall, drive up the street, I see ICE marching down the street with the guns, going door to door, banging on folks' doors, open up ICE. Want to know if you're an American citizen, we want to come in and search your home. Oh no, we don't need a search warrant, get out the way, old man punk. And coming in there and just doing that. I should be able to pull up at Walmart tomorrow and they're lined up in front of Walmart and they're going ahead and checking everybody's ID. When you go in, all right, I just want to go in and get me some Coca-Cola. Yeah, okay, buddy, show us some ID. You would think that's what's going on because she said we're well past all of this stuff.
The problems are here, they're in the right now. And as we see people being pulled off the streets, the danger to law enforcement, quite frankly, is that when you're masked like that and people don't know who you are.
Here we are. Now you're belittling the population's intelligence. It's same talking point. When you're masked like that and people don't know who you are, they sent out the memo. So let's blame ICE for ICE covering their face because of this type of rhetoric. That's why ICE is covered. These are the oxymorons amongst morons. ICE is covering their face because of hit pieces like this. So here she goes with the same talking point.
Someone might exercise their lawful right of self-defense to protect themselves.
Now you see that? Hint, hint. This is encouraging all of the violence, but they're blaming ICE. Hint, hint. Any of you citizens out there, should I say illegal immigrants out there, that are pulled over or detained by who should be obvious, it should be obvious to you that these are ICE agents due to their tactics and methods of how they pull you over. Once you initially get stopped, your brain should start registering like, okay, this is not the behavior and tactics of a kidnapper. Whole bunch of kidnappers, G'd up with long guns, tactical gear, just for me. What did I do to deserve this? Oh, could it be that I'm putting the clues together? Wait a minute. ICE is out looking for illegal immigrants, in which I happen to be one. But I'm going to interpret all of these guys as potential kidnappers and then pull and fire on them. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to think my life is in danger of being kidnapped by 20, 30 men. And so I'm going to go to war with them. Even if they were kidnappers and you had a weapon, what would you do? You think you stand a chance against a whole bunch of kidnappers that's going to pull their guns out like that? Whole bunch of them surround you. You think you stand a chance? You're most likely would be like, oh shoot, if I make any sudden moves, they're going to kill me and not just kidnap me. But she is now planting the seed in the heads of some loose cannon that might say, you know what? I'm going to react like this white lady on this network just said. Hey, I mean, if you get pulled over and they got masks on, hey, you might just react like that. And now they love the Second Amendment. Now they love it. They love it now. See, yeah, you might use your right to Second Amendment self-defense and start firing on them. Start firing on them. And then later, blame it on the fact that just because they have their faces covered.
Thinking they're being kidnapped. So the notion that this is for law enforcement's protection is utterly ludicrous.
Yeah, because see, now they have to come out and excuse why all of these ICE agents are being attacked. And because these are stinking people, they're now going to flip it, blame it on ICE, and come up with one of the flimsiest reasons why all this violence is occurring on ICE, because they happen to have their faces covered due to us demonizing them. Now, here's the irony of this. When all of the violence takes place, it's coming from people who show up and they already show up knowing that these are ICE agents. Now, isn't that odd? So you're telling me all of these people who show up with bricks, sometimes guns, they're showing up to stop kidnappers? That's what they think these people are? They show it the little app that they all use to find out where ICE is at. Beep, 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 beep. The ICE is down the street 2 blocks, but it might be kidnappers though. It might be kidnappers and not ICE. So you're not seeing any folks that are illegal immigrants that are detained by ICE. You know, they're not responding as if they don't know that this is ICE. So my question becomes, who are all of these people showing up and how do those people even know that it's ICE? I mean, why are y'all showing up? Y'all don't know this is ICE. They have their faces covered. It's unmarked vehicles. It could just be a large group of kidnappers. But yet, all of these folks happen to show up with bricks, guns, bottles, everything like that to do what? Huh? Do they ask ICE, are you guys ICE or kidnappers? No, they show up because they know that this is an ICE raid. But this woman and the rest of them want folks to think that, hey, nobody knows who these people are. They're just out there randomly kidnapping people. So then why are the protesters showing up if they don't know who they are?
So we need to do away with that.
I think one of the things that's had a lot of folks up in arms is that ICE agents, unlike other law enforcement, have been masked to protect their identity. That's not something that we've really had on this scale.
Now, see, you see who's back, right? You see the hammer, never smiling, sitting there like, here we go. Here we go. We never had anything. Now, they're all saying this as if they are completely ignorant to what is going on with ICE. They're all asking these questions about the mask as if we haven't been watching violent attacks on ICE members. And the crazy part about it is the violent attackers are also wearing masks. Isn't that crazy? You want to go and question the tactics of ICE wearing masks, but as you watch all of the violence against ICE, they are all wearing masks. You're more worried about ICE wearing masks than the attackers wearing masks.
In this country, do you?
Well, we never had the scale of it on ICE we have now, up 700% than ICE. Yeah, against
Well, you've
ICE
had
agents,
increased
right?
attacks on police officers as well in the wake of the defund the police movement too, but they haven't put masks on.
They haven't to put masks on because it ain't a full-out campaign to demonize those men during that George Floyd riots and all of that stuff. Yeah, see, they weren't going out there, and the whole purpose was to, arrest folks and remove them out the country. That wasn't the goal. So they wouldn't need to have their faces covered. They were there just to react to crazy rioters that might have got out of control. But when you're dealing with ICE and they have a very strategic goal and agenda that politicians disagree with and encourage people to attack them, make their life inconvenient, and put their life in danger, of course. This isn't organic. These attacks on ICE aren't coming just from the civilian population feeling like they're being terrorized by ICE. It's coming from higher ups who's saying, let's not allow Trump and ICE and all of them to overturn our goal of replacing voters and bringing in all this cheap labor. So therefore, we got to go hard on them. We got to go on the offense to deal with ICE, to shut it down, harass them, and make their job harder. But this woman acts as if, you know what, but it's different. It's different.
You name a police agency that has a 700% increase on name one.
I haven't looked at that data, yeah.
I haven't looked at that data because that's not my goal. I don't care about that data. My goal was to try to get on here and, try to bring up the narrative and make it stick. That the only reason all of this violence is occurring on ICE is because their faces are covered. Now, understand, who's creating the violence against ICE? Is it the people who ICE has just arrested? Or is it the people who show up to protest against ICE? It's the people who show up to protest against ICE. And what she's trying to say is that the violence is because these people are saying these people got masks on. Well, if that was the case, all of those illegal immigrants that ICE detain and have them sitting there waiting and going through all of that stuff, they would be the ones that would be attacking ICE, fighting back, resisting arrest. Yeah, they're the ones that's being obtained. Yeah, you would think that would be the problem. Since when do regular civilians feel they got to stick their big fat noses in situations like that and start throwing rocks, bottles, and shooting at, folks for detaining? These people show up and they know exactly who these people are. They know this ICE. So now, why would I get involved in that? If I am unsure of who these people are, what agency this is, I'm just a regular citizen, and I see 15 men sitting down. They're not being shot. They're sitting down with their hands cuffed. And I'm just going to say, right now, these these cats are having their rights being violated because these are unmarked vehicles, and the people who stand in there, they got them in handcuffs, might be kidnappers. So let me go ahead and round up a bunch of citizens to just randomly show up and start throwing bricks and shooting at them and stuff. They're really, really stretching this narrative. And I'm saying, y'all think we're stupid. But here you go. That's what it is. It's because ICE in their masks.
You won't find one. ICE is on present 700% increase, and we're not even talking about the agents, their spouses, and their children.
Yeah.
So they're wearing masks to help give them some sort of protection. But the same people that complain about ICE wearing masks, have they ever said anything about protesters wearing masks?
Well, I mean, that leads me to the question that, do you have concerns that...
You shut your mouth, lady. Trying to interrupt the hammer. You don't interrupt the hammer. The hammer interrupts you. What that leads me to the next question, because now what you're doing is destroying my narrative and getting me off topic. That's what it is.
Well, let me answer though.
Yeah, okay.
Did they ever say anything about the mass protesters that became college campuses that students and took over buildings, destroyed property?
Absolutely not. Yeah, because they're coming from the same, group of people. There also are radical folks that go out and create chaos in society, backed up by Democrats.
They're all wearing masks. Did anybody pass legislation saying they can't wear a mask during a protest?
No. Democrats makes exceptions to the rules for their minions, just like during COVID. Did anybody demand masks on all of those protesters that were out there protesting, acting up, breaking windows, burning up? No. In fact, y'all use some propaganda to suggest that COVID, for whatever reason, takes the back seat to all of these folks out there fighting against systemic racism, because that was a greater threat than COVID. But now, we're about to get into it, man, because some stupidity is about to hit us. Jillian Michaels has been destroying CNN lately. I appreciate her. So now, watch this stuff that just took place on CNN. Here we go.
Look at what just happened at the Glass House marijuana farm. Here's what people don't want to see. On the other side, they don't want to see people throwing rocks into the cars of federal agents. They don't want to hear.
Bam! That's number one. Now, understand, this lady used to be a liberal. She moved out of California, and now she's using all this common sense. You don't want to see these things. If y'all think this is a good look for average Americans to see Democrats whining every day, all day about their precious illegal immigrants and not American citizens, you're mistaken. If they think that Americans want to turn on TV and see their radical protesters throwing rocks into federal agents' cars, shooting at them, and waving the Mexican flag, but you want us to get on board with getting mad at Trump for going out and dealing with these people, and you're going, if these was the type of people that we're dealing with. Absolutely. Get them out the country. So now, what else, Jillian?
That someone supposedly opened fire on them. They also don't want to learn that there are a bunch of kids there that are undocumented or unaccompanied, and they think this is crazy talk.
Crazy talk. See, this is where we're at in the country. You got the sanes and the insanes. Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. Hear us as all of these sane folks are looking at what's going on and saying, this is crazy. Am I seeing Karen Bass get on TV talking about all Angelinos are going to be protected and we're going to give money to all of these illegal immigrants? Am I seeing politicians talk about some Trump as Hitler and these are basically the brown shirts and the Nazis going out this concentration? Am I seeing so-called responsible politicians calling these things concentration camps? Am I seeing that? Am I seeing the news allow folks on the network to go out and make these claims and comparisons to concentration camps and white supremacy and kidnapping? Am I really seeing this? Am I seeing Democrats support rioters that are in the street with Mexican flags? That's what Americans don't want to see.
And we should be focusing on that. And for one thing, how did those kids get there?
Bam! As we saw on my show yesterday, they were out there. I want you to look at this video. You got ICE agents shooting tear gas, using it on kids. And my first question and thought was, wait a minute, go back. Kids? What are kids doing there? Why are kids out there in the marijuana fields along with either protesters brought those kids or those kids were already there? But y'all don't want to focus on that because before you found out the details of who was detained and what took place during that raid, y'all jumped out there like, look at this. These are gentle woodland creatures. These farmers are out there just, they're picking grapes. They're picking out the berries and stuff like that. They're working hard. They're very professional. This is skilled labor. And all of a sudden, ICE had no reason to go in and, oh, wait a minute. There were kids in there? Oh, shoot. Can we go ahead and, forget it. Let's act like we didn't know that. Let's act like we ain't know that.
I just want to add one thing, and we do have to go, but the UFW, the United Farm Workers, put out a statement about this. They said the UFW can confirm farm workers.
Now they went into collateral damage cleanup. Yeah, this was after, because they do. Once they found out kids were there, it would destroy all of this outrage about the raid. So now all of a sudden they got to clean it up. So get Abby out there to lie now and say that it's okay for kids to be out there working in the marijuana illegally, legal kids that are legally out there working in the marijuana field. Okay, let's go ahead and try to come up with something to go ahead and destroy the reaction to all of the common sense folks that say, wait, y'all out here whining about this ICE raid and y'all didn't even stop to find out who was detained, what happened, and the details and stuff. And now we find out kids was in there. And y'all up here talking about ICE shouldn't have been there. That justifies ICE being there. That makes me say it's good that ICE went in there and rescued those underage kids. So Abby got to pretend that there was nothing wrong, y'all. I don't see nothing wrong with little kids picking weed.
Workers were critically injured yesterday during chaotic raids in Ventura County, California. Others, including U.S. citizens, remain totally unaccounted for. Many workers, including U.S. citizens, were held by federal authorities at the farm for 8 hours or more.
Including U.S. citizens that were held totally unaccountable for. What do you mean? U.S. citizens totally unaccountable for. What are you saying? Are you saying that those U.S. citizens that they just vaguely threw out there are gone? What happened to them? What are you talking about? Totally unaccountable for. So now, y'all got to try to make it seem like, though, that ICE raiding this place and capturing all these illegal immigrants is worse than the fact that they found these kids. We got to pretend now that all of the folks who was found on this here plantation and was arrested, who knows? I mean, we're never going to give you the final details about these American citizens that we claim were mixed up and all of that, because we don't want to give you the final details on it. We want to leave it in your mind that potentially these American citizens never were seen again. Never seen again. We're not going to follow up to see the conclusion of that. We're going to just throw that statement out there.
U.S. citizen workers report only being released after they were forced to delete photos and videos of the raid from their phones. They also add...
Well, there you go. Now we found out they were released and said delete the videos and photos on your phone because you might get us doxxed. You might dox us.
That farm work is exempted from child labor laws. So
you're telling me undocumented?
I'm not saying the undocumented. I'm not talking about the
marijuana.
I'm not talking about. My goal is to get everybody's attention away from these kids that were found. That's what my goal is. So now I got to juggle. I got to find this balance right here. Try to pretend like, no, I'm not saying it's right for kids to be on these plantations, picking wheat. But I'm just saying, there's not illegal for them to do it. We got to continue to make excuses for this nonsense.
I'm not talking about the undocumented part, but according to the statement, in this country.
I'm not talking about the undocumented part. That's the only kids that were there. So then why even bring it up? Now you want to make it an issue of child labor. I'm not talking about the undocumented part. Why are you bringing it up, Abby? Yeah, you should stay focused on the fact that these kids that are illegal immigrants that most likely were trafficked here are on that farm. But you want to piggyback and jump out there and just start talking about all kids and child labor, and it's not illegal for child labor and
not just at farm, not at marijuana farms, at all
semantics.
Don't give me semantics. And see, this is a real civilian reaction to CNN. She's sitting here listening to them feed her that trash. Like, are you kidding me? I mean, don't see, you're giving me semantics. We all see it. Abby still don't want any negativity to come towards illegal immigration. She don't want any of their bubbleheads to look at what is taking place negatively when it comes down to illegal immigration. She don't want her bubbleheads to go, wow, I didn't know illegal immigration included the kidnapping of kids, the exploitation of kids. I didn't know all of that came along with this, see? I didn't know that 300,000 plus kids were missing under Biden. I don't hear the Democrats whining about it. I didn't know that. I didn't know that they were using these kids for child labor. So let me divert away from any negativity on illegal immigration and redirect the negativity back to ICE and their tactics.
Look at the reality of it. I'm just talking about how did an unaccompanied, undocumented 14-year-old in the middle of the day.
Hey, Jillian, let me keep interrupting you because you now are responding like a common sense person would to my stupid statement. So let me go ahead. I know what I just said was stupid, but they sent me out here to calm this down and to, redirect our dummies to looking at this broadly. I mean, I'm just saying, there's no laws against child labor on farms.
I believe, and many people might believe, children should be subject to child labor laws.
Absolutely.
But it's true in this country that when it comes to agricultural work, they're not. And that includes marijuana farms. So
No, it doesn't. We found out later that was completely a lie. It doesn't include marijuana farms. Abby is not going to come back out and retract this stupid statement. She just said, I'm going to let this lie linger out there and hopefully nobody will go look it up.
The legality of their status is a separate issue, but
then why are you talking about child labor laws on farms and stuff like that? Yeah, I mean, because understand, nobody said these were American kids who got caught and picked up on these farms. All illegal immigrants. So then why even bring up children's status and the ability to work on farms and all of that stuff? Well, because we want to conflate the issue. We want to make it seem like, no, this is okay. These kids right here, don't focus on the fact that they're all illegal immigrant kids. Just focus on kids in general.
Fact of children being there is not actually something that is necessarily illegal.
I have a really hard time
So there's that.
Now see, look, Jillian don't know for sure, but the common sense reaction when you hear CNN, try to cover with stupid narratives, your common sense goes, man, I really get a hard time believing that. And you know what? Is that true? I mean, I don't know about that one. I'm gonna have to go and look that one up. It sounds pretty out there. So she's like, I got a really hard time.
So it's not unusual for there to be teenagers and working in a farm.
A 14-year-old can work at a marijuana growing.
It doesn't matter whether it's a marijuana farm or an apple farm.
A kid can work at a bar.
Yeah. Why can't kids work at the bar? At the strip club? Hey, wait a minute. You're IDing me and you're how old? I'm 14. Why do I got to show you my ID? You should show me your ID. Hey. There's no laws against me working at a strip club, okay, at 14. Now, show me your ID or get to stepping. So I guess that's what's going on. Yeah, common sense reactions to stupidity.
It's agriculture. They're not.
If that's the law, that's
They're
outrageous.
cultivating
It
it.
should be changed.
Yeah, if that's the law, it's outrageous because it's not the law. Yeah, I'm not gonna go and read the whole thing, but yeah, trust me, Abby Phillips was lying.
The point is, this incident, and we're still learning a lot more about it, was very dangerous and put a lot of people, including ICE officers, and
Put a lot of people, including ICE officers. Why did it put the ICE officers in danger? That's my question. So the ICE officers show up. They get no resistance from the actual workers that were detained, except for one guy who jumps off or falls off of a building and dies because he climbed up there trying to do what? Escape ICE and fell to his death. And then, of course, on networks, they were talking about that. One person died, actually. What, did he get shot by ICE? Why did he die? If he would have came out and said, yep, here I am, I'm an illegal immigrant, he would have been fine. But he was running because he was a what? Illegal immigrant. So now, here's Abby saying everybody was in danger. No, nobody was in danger until radical, crazy protesters showed up. So once again, you're blaming ICE just for doing their job. All of a sudden, that creates a reaction of danger, of aggression from so-called regular, everyday American citizens that don't have any reason to stick their big fat nose in this business, except for the fact that y'all encouraged them and y'all probably sent them and y'all probably pay them and y'all probably, bust them in and things like that.
and those immigrants in danger.
Federal law enforcement
Hey,
agents.
I agree with you,
I agree
but
with you. No,
the
you don't.
tactics are
No, you don't. No, you don't agree with her because then you said, I agree with you, but now you're going to blame it on the tactics.
producing chaos
They
and
are-
The tactics are inducing chaos. Where's the chaos coming from, dummy? Abby? So wait a minute. The tactics worked. There was no chaos or violence until the radical protesters showed up. ICE came in, they implemented the raid, they got who they needed, and if nobody would have showed up to protest and tear up and those stuff, it would have went smoothly. The tactic would have worked perfectly. But now what you're saying is this perfect tactic that worked, all of a sudden is the reason why all this violence started to take place. From so-called folks that ain't got no business involving themselves in this. But the tactics.
violence, and I think that is one of the things that's caused people to.
Who That's attacks the first? key. That's my question.
We don't know.
Well,
we will
it
find
seems like
out.
we
Well,
know.
it seems like what they seem to be missing in the story.
So let's look at what took place, y'all. Because the tactics, y'all, the tactics. So let's see. As these vehicles are leaving with people in them, all right, now this is a great tactic. I'm looking at this, I'm going, without the disruption, this would have went off perfectly. So now we got ICE finishing their mission, they're leaving, the tactic worked, and then what do they run into?
Story is why they were there and what they found when they got there. They care about the kids in Texas, and they should.
Y'all
They
see
don't
this?
care about-
I hope y'all are looking at what these folks are doing on screen. When I watched this video, I was so furious. I was looking at this going, who in the world are these nasty, stinking, radical young adults up here throwing bricks, huge bricks at these cars?
about the kids who are found on this place. I mean, they find 14 kids, who are 14 children who are potentially in forced labor. They don't have anything about their
And
IDs.
trafficking and exploitation.
Look at all those masks. Look at all these folks just throwing big bricks with masks on into federal vehicles that are trying to leave. These federal vehicles, they're talking about the tactics, encourage all of this stuff. No. Now, these folks are trying to leave because they're done with their raid. And what's happening right here? Huge bricks. Now, did you ever think you'll get to the point where you see these people out there throwing bricks into federal agents' vehicles and not being shot, not being arrested, stuff like that? And this is where we're at. And these folks are emboldened because they're in California, and then they'll turn on the TV, and instead of seeing politicians condemn this and saying these folks need to be thrown in the slammer forever, instead of seeing that, you see them going, we're going to protect our Angelinos, and they shouldn't have been here anyway, and ICE brought it on themselves, and ICE should never do this, and ICE should take their mask off, and ICE is the Gestapo, ICE is the brown shirt. That's why these people are doing this.
And 9 of them were unaccompanied minors. So we've been reporting for years about what's going on at the border and that the kids are missing.
Look at that.
Well, hell, maybe the kids aren't missing. Maybe they're all across the country
Look at this.
working
Look
in
at
different
this.
locations.
Look at that video right there. The president said he watched in disbelief as thugs were violently throwing rocks and bricks at ICE officers while they were moving down the roadway in their car or their official vehicles. Tremendous damage was done to these brand new vehicles. I know for a fact that these officers are having a hard time.
And Democrats are justifying this. Democrats are making excuses for what we're seeing right here on my screen. Democrats are suggesting that ICE brought all of this on themselves. Now, they didn't send out the message telling all these protesters to show up and do this. Yeah, somebody leaked it. And then, of course, here comes all the protesters. ICE isn't getting this reaction from the people they arrested. They're getting this from the people who have been encouraged to go down there and cause chaos. Now, it's just a matter of time before either an ICE agent gets hurt, because that big brick that I just saw went right through the window, the driver's window, right through the window. That's how huge the bricks are. And these people are doing this without any fear of them stopping the vehicle, getting out and going, you throw another brick this way, I'm going to interpret that brick as a deadly weapon. You sit back and you got that arm out there and that brick in that hand. I'm going, if you throw that brick, don't you do it. Like my brother, when he was a baby, my aunt whooped his tail because he had a baby shoe, that hard white baby shoe. And he had that arm back like this. And she said, if you throw that shoe at me and hit me, I'm going to tear your tail up. And he said, whoop, caught her right between the eyes. She ran over there and went to work on him. She tells that story and I love it. I'm like, I'm mad that I went around to see that. But nonetheless, that's what needs to happen. These people are out here throwing huge rocks, huge bricks through the windows.
Time with allowing this to happen, and that it shows such total disrespect for law and order.
Because they're living in a lawless state, a state that makes excuses for them, and they feel like, hey, if the folks that's supposed to be disciplining us don't care, and they're encouraging us, and they're also labeling these people as the enemy. We're not just labeling ICE as the enemy. We got, politicians doing it. So why should we care about ICE? When I see Gavin Newsom get on there and I see Tampon Tim demonize them and call them Gestapo, why should we care about these people? When I see Karen Bass demonize them, well, why should we care about these people? When I see politicians saying the ICE members are disappearing people, they're kidnapping folks, they got masks on their face, who knows, they might not even be real agents. Why should we care about these so-called ICE agents that we really don't know if they're ICE agents or not? Because the Democrats are telling us without their faces revealed, who knows who they are? So therefore, we got the right to go ahead and destroy property. And guess what else they're trying to use to stop us, y'all? I mean, this is the desperation of the left. Now, all of a sudden, y'all, we got to go ahead and just stop all of this deportation, because if you're a Christian, then you should be for immigration. That's what you should be for. This is what they're talking about on what MSNBC, maybe CNN, I don't know.
Healthcare benefits.
Oh, back to CNN. Y'all ready for this? So y'all brace yourself. I got him. Did I get him? Little gnat. I almost had him. He on my screen. So now, here we go. If you're a Christian, get ready.
Benefits, you treat them like human beings. You create real jobs rather than, we went from one unpaid labor force to another very low paid labor force. And this country has worked that way for
Now look at Jillian again. She's looking like, who are you people? What? The stuff that comes out of your mouths? Are you people crazy?
centuries. And if we really wanted to stop it, we would go after the employers.
I'm just confused. I don't even understand what you're for. Because you talk about following the law, but ICE is enforcing law enacted by Congress. Are you for illegal immigration?
Of course they are. Once again, because Jillian Michaels usually ain't on CNN around these propagandists. She's having a hard time, understanding like propaganda land. She's going, what are you people? What are you for? Like she has a natural reaction. That's what I like about it. Not a commentator, just a natural reaction. Like, what are you for? You just got up here talking about some. These folks right here should have increased pay. She ain't even talking about the fact that they're here illegally and shouldn't even be here. See, when these people talk about immigration and illegal immigration, they never even separate it. They make it seem like this is okay. They make it seem like we should be looking out for how to make these people's lives better here, how to make the process more proficient to get them here and acclimate them and help them get jobs, and how to make sure we look at labor laws and all of this stuff. But she's not talking about the fact that these people shouldn't be here in the first place. So now Jillian got to back her up a little bit and ask her, wait, what are you for?
Standing on American soil is allowed to claim asylum. And we call these people illegals, but they're Christian refugees.
Where'd that come from? Do you hear this bootleg Christian right here? We call these people illegals, but they're Christian refugees. All of them. So all of these 11 million, we got Muslims, we got atheists, we got all these, but they're Christian refugees. This is the desperation. They allowed this fool with this big fat perm in his head to get on here and tell us these are Christian refugees. So now all of us Christians got to stop saying we support deportation because of this bootleg Christian that's going to try to manipulate us with the Bible.
I have this crazy thing I do with the Bible. I read it. And
I read it. You're reading it for nothing. You're reading it to try to manipulate us. That's what you're doing.
Jesus is emphatic about saying that
Jesus is emphatic about what? Lawlessness, disobedience, breaking the law.
He judged nations and individuals in Matthew 25 by how we. Well, no, but hang on.
We're a nation of laws.
You belong to a party that likes to wave Jesus around like a prop, my friend.
We are not in a theocracy.
Okay, if I may.
We're in a nation.
I'm asking you.
You're in a nation of laws. Jesus also said, obey the laws of the land. So what are you talking about? That right there is a Hail Mary. That right there is one of the lowest stinking ways to win an argument ever. You got to do what I say because your religious beliefs demand you to obey me. That's what it is. Your religious beliefs command you to overlook all of the lawlessness, to overlook the fact that these folks are coming in here and creating chaos in our country. That's what Jesus demands of you. So stop questioning what we're doing. And my boy Scott was like, we're not a theocracy, okay? But hey, according to you guys, you're Christians, right? You're always talking about your religion. I can't stand when non-Christians try to manipulate Christians by using the Bible. Ain't you supposed to be a Christian? If that's the truth, then you should let these people come and stay.
The Bible or the Constitution or laws enacted by Congress?
I'm talking about a political party that uses the pretense of Christianity to get
But
votes.
how did you just pivot all the way over to there?
Because I have no other argument. How did you just pivot all the way over to there? Because I'm sitting here listening to you people destroy this whole narrative about the legal immigrants should be here and that they're being mistreated. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try a different tactic. I'm going to see if I can manipulate you and demonize you based on anybody out there that's a Christian. Jesus demands that y'all let these people stay. Now, am I a practicing Christian? No. I'm just using that to go ahead and try to manipulate you. Man, leave the Bible out of this. That's what burns me up. When I see these folks get on TV and they try to, attack conservatives that happen to be Christian by saying that the Bible says...
Because the God of the Hebrew Scriptures commands us to welcome the stranger. Christ says we'll be judged by it. Why should I listen to Donald Trump?
Look at Jillian. Jillian's hands is up here like, I can't even believe I'm sitting on the set listening to you say this and try to use this as an argument. So now, look at this guy. He says he would rather obey the God and Jesus than Donald Trump.
I listen to Donald Trump instead of God and Jesus.
Why should I listen to Donald Trump instead of God and Jesus? Wow. I mean, I know even Abby is sitting there like, okay, yeah, that one sounded real asinine. Let's see if we can go ahead and pivot.
Listen, laws enacted by Congress.
Yes, well, if you're standing on our soil, you're allowed to claim asylum.
Is that true? So everybody who flies in to our country on vacation, hey, let's leave France, come to the United States and visit. We want to go to see the Empire State Building. You get here as soon as you land, you come in. All right, I declare asylum. I mean, if that was the truth, then all of the visitors and stuff from all over the world who comes and tour our country and go to there and this and that, then all they would have to all do to become American citizens is as soon as they come to visit, just declare asylum. Here we go. And we don't have no real parameters or anything that we go by and stuff like that to say, okay, this is a legitimate reason to declare asylum. Just step your big fat toe on our soil and then, hey, I want asylum.
You were born here.
But what about?
You are a citizen.
Hold on,
Hold on, the laws.
hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. Scott, hold on.
Due process.
Can I ask a
Talking about
question?
following the
Is it
law.
democratic?
Scott, just a second.
Break it up.
Among many.
Okay,
Yes.
did you have an
How about
issue?
we follow due
Did you have
process?
an issue with the millions of people that Obama deported, over 50% of which did not get due process?
Crickets. See, that's what you got to do. Come prepared for these dummies. Yeah, let's see how outraged they were over that.
And there, no?
What do you mean?
Really? What expedited removal, voluntary return,
Expedited removal is in the law.
Millions of people.
I
Followed the law.
I believe people have the opportunity to go before a judge and make
That's
their case,
absolutely
actually.
Many were turned away.
That is
Absolutely not true. I think people got a right to go before a judge and they're always making excuses. You hear Abby coming in? As Jillian just read off all of these folks who were deported by Obama without that due process. But now all of a sudden, due process matters to these people. All of a sudden out there, everybody got that.
absolutely
Well, that's
Watch
another
this.
way
So that
to
makes it
How
okay
about
now.
Operation Street? That's not my point. It's the selection of outrage.
I'm
So
not-
that I'm
highlighting. Highlighting outrage.
Guys, hold on one second. Let me let Jill. Hold on.
Obama.
And
Hold on,
nobody
Aaron.
knows Justice Department.
Aaron and
elected officials.
Congressman.
Yeah, see, now all of a sudden they want to just create a lot of noise, background noise to overshadow the facts that Jillian is reading. That's what they're doing. Let's create a little bit of uprising and uproar and stuff like that so nobody can really hear her drop out all of those facts. Because, see, our opinion changed based on who's the president. And under Obama, you know, and all those cages those kids were in, sleeping under aluminum foil, we ain't had nothing to say. We ain't had nothing to say about all of that stuff. We weren't out here talking about something about they need due process. But now all of a sudden we do. Interesting.
Guys, hang on one second.
They did
Hang
it.
on one second.
California is now a sanctuary city. It used to
It's
be
a state, not a
California's-
city.
Now you see? See? That's the stuff. That's the stuff that pisses you off. Jillian is like, oh. Like anything to try to take away from the point that she's making. It's not a state, it's a state, it's not a city, it's a state.
Los Angeles is now a sanctuary city. California didn't have sanctuary cities when Obama was in office, and they cooperated under a program.
How are they
called-
making your life worse? How are
Oh, that's it? That's your response to this? What you just read made so much sense. Then I'm just gonna go with the how's this making your life worse argument.
they hurting you?
That's not my point.
Are they
How
hurting
illegal
you?
immigration hurts everybody.
Illegal immigration pumps $5 billion a
You know,
year into our
hang on a
economy.
second, John.
Okay, let's
Do they help? Do they
Hold
help
on,
Riley? Do they help?
John, hang on a second. Scott, hold on a
A
second.
lot more
Jillian.
homegrown folks kill women.
Jillian.
Did they
Hey,
help
Jillian.
Break it up.
Homegrown Americans
Scott, can
kill
we
at a much
please-
higher rate.
I'd like to put
Homegrown Americans kill at a much higher rate. You hear all the nonsensical arguments that's sprinkled in amongst all of the argument. So now she got to break it up because it's getting out of control.
illegal immigration and
Okay, everyone, just stop talking for just a
Immigrants
second.
and citizens-
Jillian, please stop talking. You all are all talking at the same time. It's impossible to hear or understand. When I say stop talking, please stop talking. Thank you.
Yeah, and we're going to close with Tom the Hammer. Tom the Hammer Homan, okay? He got up there and was giving a speech and some crazy weirdo had something to say to him. Okay, so now we done seen the left, the media, all cope, trying to, of course, take away from all of the serious issues concerning illegal immigration and making excuses of why, you know, ICE is being attacked and all of this stupidity. And then somebody had the nerve to show up and try to go ahead and embarrass the hammer and only ended up getting the hammer dropped on him. So let's go ahead and see how this ended terribly for this person. Yeah.
That's
Here he is.
so I feel kind of bad because you just heard some great preaching. And look, I'm a badass. I say bad things.
Bad to the
So
bone.
look, let me just start out by saying this. Sometimes I use a bad word. Sometimes I'm harsh. But if I offend anybody here tonight, I don't give a shit.
Oh, do 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 do, bad to the bone, do 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 do, bad to the bone, do do do.
Okay.
Look, that's the most smiling you gonna get out of the hammer. That's it. That's it. You see it? That's all you're getting out of the hammer.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Darn right.
A few minutes
Here you go.
later.
They're playing the long game. Let's release them in the community. Wait 3 or 5 years.
What's this? What's this? Huh? You shut your mouth, SA. Where's that noise coming from?
Pardon me?
Are you an MS-13 member? It says so.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay.
That's all right. Relax, everybody. You don't have to fight the hammer's fight. Okay? The hammer will fight his own fights.
I got a question. No. I got a question for you. Why don't you come up here and hand me that picture? Bring it.
Now you think that heckler is going to go up on stage against the hammer? Absolutely not. See, that's what happens when you call him out. He's like, hey, why don't you come on up here in my face, Mr. Soy Boy, and do it? Yeah, just like back in the day when I lived in Cincinnati, our church took a trip up to Chicago and for an event. And we had this new girl who joined the church. And, you know, she hadn't gotten rid of all of the worldliness in her, all of the street tactics. And not only that, she was a tall, physical girl, played volleyball, basketball. She was kind of big boned, but not fat, looked real athletic physically. But it was this one lady in the church who ever since she had joined, you know, the way she respond with the loud mouth and the attitude would always back people up off of her. You know, yeah, why y'all looking at this? Why you do this? And you know what? Somebody y'all needed. So everybody's like, I just don't even want to deal with her because she got the smart mouth. She got the angry black girl attitude and all of that. So she was allowed to get away with bullying folks with her personality and her attitude. But she didn't get a dose of this new girl. The new girl wasn't feeling it. So the new girl's sitting on the bus, and this girl is running her mouth. Chirp, 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 chirp. And all of a sudden you heard, why don't you shut up? And she turned around like, who said that? And without hesitation, the new real tough girl was like, I did. And what did she do? Oh, I mean, I just want to know. That's all I want. She ain't want no parts. Didn't want no parts of the real tough girl. Yeah, she immediately was like, I did. No hesitation, like, I said it. I want you to know I said it. And you got a problem with what I just said? If you do something about it. Man, that chick turned around like, I ain't set her butt down and was quiet the rest of the trip. Sat down like, and everybody was like, oh, she met her match. Because you know what? Bullies can see real toughness. Bullies don't want a piece of somebody who they go, that's a real tough person. It ain't no I'm just pretending to be. That ain't what I'm a fake being tough. I'm just going to be doing a whole bunch of talking. This person is about it. So do you think this bum is going to run up there and do it? Nope. And Homan says, come on up here if you want.
Bring it. USA! USA!
Oh, what? Word. There he is.
Yeah, I got morons like this all over the country.
Morons like this all around the country.
This guy wouldn't know it's like the surface nation. This guy ain't got the balls to be an ICE officer.
And he probably don't have any balls at all. No balls at all. No balls at all. All right, let's continue.
He hasn't got the balls to be a bomb control agent. This guy lives in his mother's basement. The only thing that surprised me, you don't have purple hair and a nose ring.
Only thing that don't surprise me, you don't have purple hair and a nose ring. He probably got that too. Soon as he leaves, he had to sneak in pretending that he was a conservative and stuff. Probably gets right out there, takes the MAGA hat off and got a purple top. Throw his nose ring back in. Go in his book bag, pull out his camel toe slippers. There you go. And his man bun that's colored just falls down. So there it is. Let's continue as he closes out.
Get out of here, you loser.
Get out of here, you loser. Loser. Well, Stone. Oh, yes, I love it. There he goes. There's the loser. There's the loser leaving.
And you're such a badass. Meet me off stage in 13 minutes and 50 seconds.
He got exact 13 minutes and 50 seconds. There you go. Meet me backstage. Yeah, he's giving them the offer. Do it. And then he closes with this. The crowd roars. They love it.
I guarantee you, he sits down to pee.
You gotta love the Hammer. I guarantee he sits down to pee. Boy, thank you, Hammer. Thank you, Hammer. After all of the attacks and accusations and stuff like that, you need a personality like this. You need a bigger bully than the bulliers. That's what you need. Tom hit him with you probably sit down to pee. Absolutely. He might be the one person I make an exception for. Yeah, you might want to go to the girls' bathroom since you're not able to pee standing up. So anyway, man. So God bless y'all. God bless America. Thanks for hanging out with me. We will see how this continues to unfold. But unfortunately, we can kind of predict that this will be an ongoing issue of attacks on ICE. As long as they're deporting their legal immigrants, they're going to be attacking ICE, the president. They're not going to finally just wipe their hands and tap out. They're going to probably fight to the last illegal immigrant. All the way down to, all right, we're down to 3 more illegal immigrants that are still here. We have to save them. We have to make sure. So it's sad that our country is divided like this over something that is very obvious and is written in the laws. And you got lawmakers who are going against this, man. You shouldn't even be in Congress if you're not willing to support and back up the law. And the Democrat Party is extremely lawless in multiple ways and in multiple categories that we've witnessed down throughout the years, especially since Trump got elected. It has just shined a spotlight on how corrupt the Democrat Party is. And, you know, we also expose some rhinos too. But man, these Democrat radicals are on a whole nother level. So we probably shouldn't be anticipating and holding our breath for them to come out and apologize about what they've been demonizing ICE over and all of that stuff. Nah. It ain't in a system. So anyway, so we'll see. And I'll be here to cover it. All right. So God bless y'all. God bless America. I see you guys next time in Cavs Corner. Let's get out of here. Don't forget, text MAGA to that number. If you want to support the channel, my Cash App and my PayPal link is right below. God bless. Yeah. Take care.
It's the Media Meltdowns.